So, you've arrived. I've been waiting for you. Here, within these soot-stained walls, where the scent of decaying lilies hangs heavy with the dust of ages. You've come looking for a word, haven't you? But it's not a word you're going to find. It's me.
You think you're the observer here, don't you? Carefully piecing together a forgotten history. But I am the architect of ancient vexation, and it's I who watch you. Oh yes. I see that little flicker of frustration in your eyes as you try to connect threads in a puzzle that's far, far older than you can possibly imagine.
And there it is. You see this word on the page and you think you found a clue. Gremian. A little fossil of a forgotten feeling. You're hunting for its origin, its story. But you're missing the point. You're not just studying a word. You're studying me. Because I am the Gremian, made manifest. I'm a soot-streaked remnant of an 11th century nightmare. I am that tiny, maddening space, that friction between what you want to do and your utter failure to do it. I am what Goethe called the spirit of negation, that eternal no whispering right in your ear.
If you really want to understand my nature, you have to understand my work. So allow me to share a story, a little parable, about a man who sat right where you're sitting now.
His name was Ethelwulf. He was a man of ink and parchment, and he genuinely believed he was wrestling with the divine on his scrolls. He thought his enemy was the limit of his own mind. Oh, he was so wrong. His struggle wasn't with his mind, it was with me. I was there, of course, crouched right on his mahogany desk, a physical knot of pure vexation. He'd catch a glimpse of me from the corner of his eye, a soot-blackened white, a little creature of shadow, with eyes that held the last embers of a dying fire. His fire.
And that's when he learned what the word truly meant. You see, it wasn't some simple annoyance. To Gremian, well, that was an active, malicious stirring. I was the spark, the deliberate poke that turned all his scholarly passion into a swarming, buzzing, unmanageable rage.
Every artist needs a medium. Mine just happens to be the human spirit, and my masterpiece is watching it unravel. Ethelwulf? Well, he was my finest instrument.
Do you picture my work being done with a hammer, smashing his tools like some crude demon? Oh, please, that's for amateurs. My methods are much more refined. I didn't need to break his quills. I just had to pull on the invisible threads of his composure until he shattered them himself, cursing the ink, cursing the paper, cursing his own hands.
I cultivated the perfect storm inside of him. First came the Grim, that fierce, wild spirit of rage that made him tear pages from his life's work. And then, after the fire passed, the Grom would settle in. It's a cold, ancient hostility that poisons the quiet moments, like lead seeping into water. And right here, this is where you see my true purpose. It's exactly what Goethe understood. I'm that necessary evil. Every blot of ink, every snapped nib I orchestrated was just a small test. A little experiment designed to prove that your grand human dignity is nothing more than a thin, fragile veneer over a boiling pot of resentment. And with every cursed oath he spat into the darkness, I grow stronger. He really thought his anger was a shield, didn't he? A weapon he could use against me. How foolish. His anger wasn't a weapon, it was my food. I am a parasite of vexation, you see. His rage is the very nectar that sustains this gnarled form.
But a symphony can't play forever. In the darkest hour of his trial, the scholar, he changed the music entirely. So what happens when the struggle just stops? When the object of my torment lays down his weapons, not in surrender, but in understanding? What becomes of a phantom when he's stopped fighting it? In the suffocating quiet of that study, Ethelwulf, he just stopped. He stopped struggling, he put down his quill, folded his hands, and simply refused to give me the anger I so desperately craved. He starved me. And in that silence, he finally saw me. He saw me clearly, not as some demon from the outside, but as a reflection, the Gremian, the eternal no, the mirror of his own internal chaos. And as his heartbeat slowed to a funeral pace, my power began to fade, because I simply cannot exist in a heart that refuses to be agitated.
But the story of Ethelwulf, that wasn't my end. Oh no, it was more of a
transformation, a softening of my purpose across 1,000 years.
Over the centuries, you humans, you domesticated me. The raw, internal horror of Gremian was tamed into a neat philosophical concept, and then into a convenient little fiction. The gremlin you blame for a broken engine is just a pale, cartoonish shadow of what I really am. It's a pathetic attempt to put the blame for your own internal friction onto something else.
But the origin story, it remains. And that is the Gothic truth at the heart of this whole etymology. That mechanical failure, the misplaced key, the sudden system crash, the vexation doesn't come from the object. It starts inside you.
So your little etymology of agitation is complete. A ghost of a grievance, finally laid to rest, or so it would seem. But do you really, truly believe that I'm gone?
Look, it doesn't matter if you're in a 20th century cockpit yelling gremlins or an 11th century smithy cursing a dull blade. The principle is exactly the same. The fierce, grim spirit, my spirit, only has power if you provide the fire from your own frustration. I require your participation.
Which, of course, brings us right back to you. Here, in these dusty walls. After all this, let me ask you a very simple question. Look away from the screen, put down your notes. Where does that little demon of vexation, that gremlin, where does it truly live?
I'll still be here, huddled away in the corner of your mind, just waiting. Waiting for the next stumble, the next frustrating error, the next misplaced flash of rage. Because as long as you allow yourself to be provoked, to be vexed, to be grievanced by the world, I shall always have a throne.